Welcome back to the Bow Disciples channel. In today's video, I want to give an in-depth, long-term use review of the Bowtech Revolt X. I purchased this bow about a month and a half ago from the bow and arrow shop in Lakeside, California, and since then have put over 1,000 arrows through the bow. Smash that like button and let's hop into the review. Okay, so a couple things that I need to explain before I hop into the review are why I switched to the Revolt X from my Bowtech experience. I've actually been shooting Bowtech since about 2004, and I had the Equalizer, the Guardian, the Experience, and now the Revolt X. I loved the Experience, I really did, but it has a very aggressive draw cycle. Very aggressive bow. No back wall. I mean, if you creep at all, that thing is tearing your shoulder off, which doesn't happen often, but when it does and it's cold on a hunt or whatever, it's pretty painful and not a fun experience, pun intended. So here we are with the Revolt X. And a couple of the things that jumped out to me right away with the Revolt X was that the draw cycle was phenomenal. I mean, my experience, I was shooting at about 66 pounds, and this bow I am shooting on the comfort setting at 70 pounds, and it feels like it's probably 10 pounds less. It also has an amazing back wall. Have not cammed over once with this bow, haven't even really been close. So right out the gate, that is the primary reason that I switched bows. This bow also does have a power setting. Like I said, I am shooting the comfort setting, but it does have a power setting, which buys you about 10 feet a second. So at 70 pounds with my 29-inch draw, I'm getting 280 feet per second with my arrow. And when we flipped it to power, I was getting about 290. Now my Experience, for example, which does not have a power or comfort, just has one mode per se, my Experience at 66 pounds was pumping out 284 feet per second. So this bow in comfort, pulling 4 more pounds, even though it feels like less, actually is a hair slower. So that doesn't really matter too much to me, but to some people I know speed is a huge deal. So I thought I'd mention that. Another thing that I really like about the Revolt X is that it is a 33-inch axle-to-axle bow. I've always kind of liked longer bows. My Experience was 32 inches. I believe my Guardian was about 34. And to me, that's kind of the sweet spot. If this bow was 34 inches axle-to-axle, I think it would be even a little bit better. But 33 is still nice. I like that extra inch of axle-to-axle over the Experience. But I would have been happier if it was like 34 inch. To me, that's kind of the sweet spot on axle to axle. A couple more things to note about the Revolt X are that there is a lot of CNC thread holes in this bow, so there is plenty of places to put dampeners or stabilizer bars or all sorts of, you have a lot of options to put whatever accessories you want on this bow, which I think is pretty cool. Another thing about this bow that I personally really like is it's a very good looking bow. It is a very cool looking bow. Bowtech offers a lot of different camo patterns, and they even have a feature on your website where you can head over there and custom design the exact look you want in your bow. So would I ever buy a bow based on looks? No, I wouldn't, but it's certainly a nice bonus when your bow looks good. So keep that in mind as well. Another really big positive of the Revolt X is that it is extremely quiet and dead in the hand on the shot. This bow has pretty much no shock, no vibration, and makes little to no noise. I was very impressed with the noise reduction between this bow and my past bow. And when I do shoots with other people, this is usually one of the quieter bows of the bunch, no doubt about that. The grip. I definitely want to talk about the grip. For me, in my accuracy and the way I like to shoot, grip is super important to me, and this bow definitely nailed it on the grip. It's just very thin, very squared off, no cushion. It's just basically metal. And you can actually switch it out. You can switch this piece for ones with different angles to them, but I'm just running the one with that came with the bow, and it is probably my favorite grip that I have ever shot. So That's really big for me. A couple of other things. I'm really only going to talk about how I like this bow and how I like it to shoot. There's a bunch of like tunability stuff on this bow. For example, the deadlock system and this cam limb pocket system and the whatever center pivot technology, all that stuff. But truth is, I'm not a big Bowtech guy, pun intended again. But I will talk about how I like this bow and how it shoots. And this bow shoots really, really good. The one thing that I would point out as a potential negative in this bow for some people is that it is really, really heavy. I mean, I'm running the exact same components as I did on my Experience. And it's got to be at least a pound heavier. There's no question this is a heavy bow. Which for me, I've always personally liked a heavier bow. I feel they sit better in the wind. I feel like they're more stable. But if you're someone who has maybe a weak front shoulder or has trouble holding the pin, like, this might not be the best bow for you just simply based on the weight. For example, the other day I was at a 3D shoot and a couple of the guys I was shooting with had the PSE carbon bows, and literally when I held them side by side, this bow felt like it was double the weight. Again, I kind of like that, especially if I'm shooting in wind or whatever. I've always liked a heavier bow. I feel the pin sits better and doesn't get blown around as much. That's just me personally, but I did want to point out that this bow is quite heavy, so just take that into account. And that's basically all I got on the Revolt X. I moved over these are all brand new components aside from the quiver and the stabilizer are the same ones from my old bow. The sight is new, the rest is new, but it's all the same components. So I just did a shoot this past weekend, 6 weeks in essentially with this bow, and I mean, I felt really, really good with it, felt at home, and that was the first shoot that I really felt dialed in with the bow. So I shot my Experience 5-6 years, something like that, and then switched to this. So I wasn't expecting to pick it up and just gel with it right away. But it did take me about 4 or 5 weeks to really mesh well with the bow. And I definitely love it now. It's an accurate bow, it drives tacks, and I definitely can't wait to take it over to TAC, another pun, in Colorado, in Utah, and then it's off to hunting season. So I'm really excited to take this Revolt X out and see what she can do in the field. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Once again, please smash the like button if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment and subscribe to the channel. See you guys soon.